Hey, Go Small, Live Large viewers, thanks for tuning in today. Welcome to another Q&A Friday. My name is Scott. I am your host. This channel is dedicated to sharing with you the learnings from the road of the places we're going to visit, the people we meet, and van life. Coming to you today from a very special place. This is the Winnebago Grand National Rally 50th edition, and it's windy. Well, we got some great questions today. I want to cover those to you while we're on the rally grounds. Stay tuned. So you can see this crazy fairgrounds filled with Winnebago products. What's exciting is that I'm in the Winnie Bees section. There's actually a group called Winnie Bees, and it's only Class B RVs made by Winnebago. There are over 110 Travatos that are here this weekend, or this week, really. Just the most amazing group. Watch for more on that coming very, very shortly. So let's get back inside because it's pretty windy and we'll get those questions answered. Mickey wants to know, have RVs always had external propane tanks? I think the answer is yes. I've never seen one with a propane tank inside. They're usually, towables are usually at the front where the trailer hitch is, and motorhomes are under the carriage chassis. Maybe somebody can answer that better for us. But and then Mickey wants to know, how is the propane tank refilled on the Travato, and where does one find propane filling station when we refill the tank? Well, let's go outside, Mickey, and I'll show you what that looks like. Glasses on. So this is one thing I like about the Travato G in particular, is that all of the hookups, except Sandy Wash, are on this side. So what we have here is tank fill. This is where you fill your freshwater tank. This is city fill, where you would leave it a hose connected for pressurized city water. So that's what those are. Best practice, well, we'll talk about that down the road. I just use the tank fill and then use the water pump. This is coax for cable, electricity, plug in. This is the Truma event or exhaust, and that's the hose. But down here we have propane. And there's a couple elements here. This is where the propane fill happens in this valve right here. This is the propane adjustment. They hit this when they are filling the propane tank to kind of bleed some air out. And this is the propane on off. So the surest ways I have found to locate and purchase propane is, number one, at the better RV parks. They usually have propane available. It's usually very reasonable in price, and they have pretty long hours. The second place that I found to be really good with propane, both price and availability in terms of hours, is U-Haul. U-Haul sells propane. They have the connections for that, the ingest port, if you will. And I found those to be the best places, and I have used those regularly for a propane. So how do you find those? Well, you can use, like Apple Maps. Let's take a look at that. Here's my trusty iPad. If I launch Apple Maps right here, I'm sure Google would do the same thing, and I'm going to type in here U-Haul nearby. Now I'm in Forest City, Iowa, so this might be kind of interesting. But you do see that I get a list of U-Hauls here, and I would probably locate one of these and either phone them or go to their website and see if it does indeed have propane. So one of the many apps that I use is called Allstays, and there's a whole group of them. These are paid for apps. They're not terribly expensive. They're pretty accurate, I found, which is great. The user interface, the UI is not awesome, but it is okay. So what we're looking for is propane, and you can see I'm right here in Forest City, and while you can filter by a number of factors, propane is not one of them, which is a little unfortunate. So what I'm looking for is, and this is why the interface isn't awesome, I can zoom in, but the icons don't change size, so it's really still kind of hard to read. So propane is a red dot that says LP. And there's none in this immediate Forest City area, but there is one over here, just a little ways away. So see the red dot right here? So I would touch on that, and Tractor Supply Company, so probably similar to a U-Haul, they would have propane services. I can touch on this, bring them some information here, and here again I would probably phone them, or at the very least check their website, but probably phone for assurance that they do offer propane. Do they have somebody on site? Very important on. So if you're zooming in to go purchase propane, again, U-Haul is pretty good about it. Truck stops I've had hit or miss. Maybe Tractor Supply in this case, hit or miss. And the reason for that is that a person has to be certified to dispense propane. And I've been to some places where it's kind of late at night, and the cashier won't go do it because she's, or he is cashiering. And so there's somebody they would have to call to go do propane, and they've had no propane certified personnel on staff to go dispense the propane. So when you're calling, check availability of a certified person to dispense the propane. What's the price? What are their hours for dispensing? And are they available to do that? Thank you. That's a great question. Appreciate you asking that. New to RVing or part-time, maybe you learned something there. Old timers know the gig, but great question. Next question comes from Motor City Prepper. He asks, Scott, do you know the weight of the ladder system? Let's look. We know that the bike rack will hold 100 pounds, up to 100 pounds, but the roof ladder, I had to look that up. So what I did is I got out the handy dandy operator's manual, and then looking at the ladder system in the manual, we see here that the load on the ladder is maximum of 225 pounds. One person only, please. So 225 pounds is the magic maximum number. So there you go. And I love my ladder. Let's go actually take a look at the ladder and the view of the GNR. Let's get a view from the ladder. Big rigs. That's where all the new product stuff is. There was a venue over here where they did some music entertainment, which was great. This is all of the Travatos. And here's where the Winnie Bees met and had a number of functions, social hours, food, learnings, just lots of great time. But you can see this place is really ginormous. A lot of folks are really there. All right, so back into Lily. Can you set a temperature on the roof AC unit, and will it cycle on and off to keep that temperature? Or when you turn the AC on, does it continuously run at the low or high that you have set it at? That is a great question, and the roof unit that I have, which is a Coleman Mach 10, there's two knobs that you turn to adjust either fan only, high-low, or AC, where the compressor runs, high-low. The second button is to adjust the compressor thermostat, if you will. So you twist that to adjust how often the compressor comes on, which would give you cool air, obviously. The way the system works is I set it to low cool, and the fan is always on what they call low speed. And then you adjust the thermostat setting to, which doesn't show numbers in degrees, it only shows a merging of a red and blue line to indicate temperature coming from the unit itself. So what I do is I typically have it on about a 50% cycle rate, meaning the compressor is on 50% of the time, off 50% of the time, but the fan runs continuously whether or not the temperature has been achieved based on the thermostat. So to answer your question directly, the compressor does shut on and off depending on whether temperature has been reached, but the fan runs continuously. It does not turn off. I wish it did. I've got some exciting news coming up about that. Can't share that with you quite yet, but that is the way it operates today. Now Tim goes on And viewer Color Me Dubious answers his question, which I love to see you folks interacting back and forth. I think that is just part of the community here, which I really, really appreciate. So awesome. So Tim asks, if you leave the AC on in the van while away to keep the unit cool, the interior cool, during the day, whether I'm in it or not, does that make for a more efficient cooling of the van? Like in the evening when I am in the rig and the rig has been heated, or in this case cooled, because the AC has been running. And Color Me kind of lays out a pretty good case for conserving resources, letting the van heat up without AC in it. I don't have any pets, so I don't have a concern about keeping the unit cool whether I am when I'm outside of Lily, my Travato camper van. So what I do is, to Color Me's point, is I conserve the resources, and when I am in the rig, that's when I cool the rig using the rooftop air conditioner. And it does cool down pretty quick. Great question, Tim. Thank you, Color Me Dubious, for helping answer that. So over the next couple of days, I'm going to be sharing information about the Grand National Rally. I'm glad that Tim asked about the air conditioner, because I actually got an air conditioner upgrade this week. I got a Max Fan upgrade, and got some really interesting information to share with you guys from Winnebago, from Volta. So stay tuned. I'm rolling these things out as fast as I can. And as always, if you enjoyed this, if you got something out of this, please give it a thumb up. That really helps the channel be found by others through YouTube. So thank you for that, by liking it. Share, subscribe if you haven't, that's notified, hit the little bell, and comment. Just love to have a back and forth dialogue. Channel growth is just going crazy, and having so much fun. I've met so many viewers out here this week, and it's just, it's amazing, this community. So thank you. And stay tuned. Like I said, we got a ton of really cool stuff coming up. Volta probably this weekend, and some Winnebago stuff early next week. Some of it is kind of breaking news on the Volta front. So stay tuned, and until we see you in the next video, my name is Scott, and I wish you to journey on.